I'm sorry I've been bad. I did not film a video last week. What's up guys, it's me Lori, and I apologize for not filming a video last week, but in my defense, I'm going through a huge transition in my life, which is what I want to talk about today. I can't share the details yet, but what I can say is that I've gone through this sort of like crash course, relearning a lesson in taking risks, which is something that I talk about this channel quite a bit. You might remember in a video, which I'll link above somewhere, where I talked about, that first time that I made a big decision in my life when I was graduating from college and I had a lot of opportunities before me and didn't know which one to pick. And at the time, I sort of, I was in a very like optimistic place. Like there was really nowhere bad that I could go. I was already broke. I was, had everything invested in this career in communications that I wanted to pursue. And I could have gone in any direction. I probably would have been fine. But the big question was what decision was going to get me towards my goal. So I sort of like wrote that out and made a very pragmatic decision about, what I could do that was going to get me to where I wanted to be the fastest. Now, I did it and it was great. And I got to work for an amazing company that I'm still working at now, which is why I can't, go into too much detail. But essentially, the company is going through another transition, and now this is like 12 years later almost, and I'm facing another possibility where I may have other opportunities before me. And when you're, in your early 30s versus your early 20s, the situation is honestly very different. It's like, I don't have a whole lifetime ahead of me to do whatever I want and to experiment and stuff like that. But I do have some time. I mean, it's not like I'm old, I'm young, but I also have a lot more to lose. I now have a mortgage. I now have, a career that I've built up and a reputation that I've built up that I don't want to just throw away. So that is what I've been dealing with. I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to transition into my next act because I may be leaving my company. And of course, like I said, when that becomes final and when I do decide what it is that I'm gonna do, I will definitely share that with you guys. But the point being right now is that I am taking a huge risk. I am taking something that I have going that's great, that's stable, that is something that I'm really proud of and I'm really happy, and I'm thinking like, is it time to experiment with something new? And I want to share that with you guys because I think a lot of people do go through this at some point in their lives, and it may not even be related to their jobs. It could be related to their family, to where they live. I interviewed Dre from EMIP TV. If you guys haven't seen that video, I'll link it and I'll also link his channel below. But he's done several career transitions where he's gone from being in the military to going into music, and then he was a transit driver in New York, and then he moved out of New York and went and pursued a life as a photographer and a truck driver. Now he's on the road, and I think that's super admirable. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like those kinds of risks that a lot of us are afraid to take sometimes because we're afraid to fail. And I get that, I sort of like, I have these nagging feelings of doubt in my mind right now. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I not? But I think that there are a few things that are clear to me. I am a person who has a lot of creative energy that I need to get out. And I need to be in a position where I can do that as much as I can. So this YouTube channel, for example, is something that's really important to me. I want to be creative in a way that I feel like I'm reaching other people, that it could help some people at least, which is one of the reasons why I love that the response I've gotten on that Evernote video I did the other, several weeks ago. It was sort of something that like I just did on a whim, and a couple of people have said thank you because that video helped them a lot with their own like personal planning and organization and stuff like that. And that's amazing. Like I want to keep doing things like that. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to put myself in a position where I'm able to. I'm going to need to have the time and the resources, to continue what I'm doing right now, maybe on a bigger scale. I'm sorry if that all sounds super vague. I feel like I'm totally winging this. I hate videos where I'm just winging it and I'm rambling and I don't really even know what the point is. I guess the point is what it always comes down to, no matter what risk that you might be planning on taking now or that you may take in the future, you always have to get over your short-term fear for your long-term gain. Always think to 5 or 10 years ahead to where you want to be. And accepting the possibility that you may fail, but what will you be comfortable living with yourself with? Will you be happy knowing that 10 years from now or 20 years from now, you didn't take a risk and you gave up on something that you maybe wanted to try? Would that be okay for you if you were able to maintain a stable life? Or, would you be unhappy because you sort of threw in the towel before you even tried? The other thing to consider, of course, is like if you've got kids to support, if you have a lot more to lose than me, like if you've got a mortgage like I do or whatever, what do you do then? I mean, how much are you supposed to trade off in terms of that risk? The answer is going to be different for everyone, but I definitely think that the worst reasons ever not to take risks are, the fear of discomfort, the fear that you're going to fail. You have to obviously be realistic with yourself. You have to understand your shortcomings. You have to know what your prospects are in the job market. If you're leaving a job for something totally new and you don't know if you're good at it, if you don't know if you have the skill, if you aren't willing to start from the bottom, that's gonna be a problem. I think what I've realized about myself, for example, is that 10, 20 years down the line, I want to be able to say that I have explored all of my creative pursuits. I've pushed myself as far as I can. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to sacrifice some stability and some comfort. Maybe a lot, there's a potential that I won't have to sacrifice anything at all, but of course there's always a potential that I'll fail and that I will have to move out of my apartment that I worked so hard to get, or that I won't have a stable income always in the coming decade. That's all possible, and I've decided that that is the reality, and it's the reality that I'm willing to face, and the things that I'm willing to sacrifice in order to try my best to achieve my goals. And I also am very well aware that I may never achieve my goals, but it will be good enough that I tried. And that's my very uneloquent way of saying that basically you need to know what you want. And when you know what you want, then you'll know what you're willing to risk for it. And then at that point, whether you make it there or not, trying will be good enough. You know what I mean? The process is the goal. So again, I'm sorry that I can't be a little bit more specific with you guys, and I will update you when I know. But I'm super excited, to be honest, about my prospects. I feel like I'm 22 again. I feel like I've got my whole life ahead of me, and I'm really sad to potentially be ending one amazing chapter of my life that has enriched me so much and taught me so much and sent me all over the globe, meeting amazing people and working with amazing people. But I am so ready for the next thing where I get to take everything that I've learned and apply it to my own ideas. If you guys have taken a big risk in your life or you're thinking about it, please share it down below. I would love to hear about it, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.